Hi guys, first I want to thank everyone for watching the first episode of Outside the Ropes with Luke Basham. I hope you really enjoyed it. It's got quite a few views already. To bring, obviously during this hard time, to bring you guys more content, I've added a new sit down with, and I'm very happy to announce that my first sit down with was Mr. Massive Chuck Cyrus. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you. Of course. Okay, so joining me today is Mr. Massive himself, Chucky C, Chuck Cyrus. How are you doing, Chuck?
I'm very well. I'm staying as huge as I can. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. So I'm going to get straight into it because I did actually a lot of research last night about you. Now, yeah,
it's all legal. As far
it's definitely all legal, so we're all right. We're all right.
Okay.
Now, I've known you now quite a while. I'd known you actually when I was actually just a fan of wrestling, and you know, like from me personally, that obviously I was a big fan of yours before. So now to actually be sharing a locker room with you on a regular basis, even at times where we've gone out to nightclubs, which were very memorable. I actually sat back and I thought, I'll look into this guy a lot more. And I was actually quite shocked at some of the stuff I was seeing, man. Like, I'm sitting there, and I'm honestly thinking, why is this guy not everywhere else?
Yeah, it's clicks, and as you're fully aware, mate, like it's I've always had heat. For those of you watching who don't know what heat means, it's like I've always had like a bad vibe or like bad words spoken about me just purely because I speak my mind. And if one of the things I'm a huge hater on is obviously bullying, like everyone should be. But I witnessed that in a training school. I'm not going to mention who, but a training school. So I spoke up about it, and it got me pretty much blacklisted from that company. And then it was just, it went on from there. But like I've done a lot. I've been to 10 different countries now. And I haven't had to pay my own way. I've done it all professionally. Like people have approached me for it. Like I've sent out, like all self-employed people need to like get up, and because that's what we are, aren't we? We're all self-employed. Like we need to get up and advertise yourself as well as you can. So you should send your CVs out to promoters, and you know, if you're not, then why not? Because people aren't just going to come and approach you. You're lucky if they do. You're one of like the 5% of people that will actually get approached by random people to come and work for you. But it's just tough, mate. Like it's got me down quite a lot. But then that was because you know I took a break for a while, didn't I? Like a couple of years ago. I think that's when it really hit me, because like you said, like I've done. You're gonna have to list off what I've done, mate. If you've done, to be honest, like
I'm not going to list it off, but like first thing I looked at was like some of the guys you faced.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Rose,
yeah,
Rampage, Haskins at SWA. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there and I'm just thinking, man, I've said to you before, like I find that you're one of the most underrated wrestlers in the country. You know, and I was like so happy to see recently when you like appeared with Will and that on the No Fans show. Talk me through that. Talk me how you felt about being part of that show.
Do you know what, mate? I was actually not going to do it.
Wow.
I know. Will offered it to me, and I was like, dude, I get like £35 an hour per client, because I obviously, you know, like I personal train outside of wrestling, and so per client I'm on like 35 quid. Let's say £35 a sesh. Now on the day that he asked me, Monday's quite a busy day for me. I'll probably get about 8 or 9 clients in, so that's a lot of dollar.
Yeah.
And when Will said, "Oh yeah, you know, we're going to be doing a No Fans show," Obviously, and one of the first things that came out of his mouth was like, "Yeah, man, you won't get paid, but we're just going to broadcast it live, and like we're going to let the fans donate." And I've known Will since he was like this skinny little Yarder boy, who used to be called Ace Payne, and like he was ugly then, and he's still ugly now, but like I love him to bits, and like it's that's why he calls himself a sex pig. But like it's I love the fact that he asked me to do it, and like Will's always been a big fan of mine. He posts constantly on Twitter, and I can't thank him enough for what he's done for me, like on a level of wrestling. And as you know, like we went out for stag doos and Magaluf and stuff, and I stopped him getting punched in the face. That's a different story. I'll probably have to tell you about that. But like he obviously asked me to do it, and I was like, look, man, I'm probably going to lose out on like 200 quid, maybe a little bit more, just on Monday. So I'll let you know. And I thought about it, and then I was like, oh, this is dumb. Actually, I need to get on this. I'll message him, and it was literally the day before, and I went, is that slot still open? And he was like, yeah, 100%. I was like, okay, sick. So we got there, and everyone was like elbowing each other. And I thought, like, I'm not going to lie, like, I didn't elbow anyone because I was like, I'm not being funny. If we're not handshaking, where do people cough?
Yeah.
Like, and so if we're going to just do this, just go, you all right? Like, don't touch me. But yeah, it was unreal. And like sharing a room with all the lads and the girls that have, B and Giselle and like Max did and Nathan Cruz and all these guys that are amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like in British wrestling, and if not like European world wrestling, like they're amazing. And to be asked to do that show by what has been the new way of wrestling, like Will and Ricochet 100% started a new psychology of wrestling, and now everyone's trying to follow it, and we can't keep up. So to be asked by him if I wanted to do it, and obviously to win the match itself was huge for me. Like you said, I've done a lot. I've been to a lot of places. I've experienced a hell of a lot in this, and it just blew my mind. I didn't really think about it until when I got backstage. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, you should have seen the comments coming through," and like we're up to like $6,000 of donations, and I was like, what? Like, I'm just a PT in a place called Fareham. Like, Fareham is full of old people. Like, what am I doing wrestling in front of like 170,000 people? Like, what? You can see how chuffed I am from it. And obviously that being the last show I've had since COVID, like, I feel you haven't seen the best of me, and that's on me because this fire I've got now just to come back and wrestle. Like, honestly, mate, some of the matches now, they're just going to be everything I've got. Like, everything I've got. Like, yeah, I smashed my knee by doing a flying headbutt off the apron to the floor. That was a stupid idea, but like, it's live and learn. I'm still going to do it, but I'll just twist my body, maybe. Who knows? Like, yeah, they're just going to be the best matches I've ever had in my life. And like, as you said, you've listed off some of the people I've wrestled, and like, they were some big matches for me. But you haven't seen nothing yet, Luke. You haven't seen nothing yet, mate.
I love that, man. I love that. It's good because like I said, I've watched you a good couple of years now, man, and I've been so impressed. Like, even when I took SWA over, and I was thinking about the names, that were a must for SWA, and like, I know like you were literally one of the first guys on there. And it's not just because of your wrestling ability though as well. I think like we had this talk not long ago. Is like the fact that when we like the trainees at the time started flocking into SWA, there was a very different feeling backstage. But you was always one of the guys that, like, especially Ash and things like that, were one of the guys that always made us feel welcome. So like that to me is like, I think, a big crucial for anyone that wants people backstage or on talent wise is definitely something that's needed, because new guys coming through, they're always going to be the guys that take the business
Yeah.
forward eventually. So it's like they need that comfort zone and to be felt like they're welcomed in. And it was definitely a massive help for me myself, as in like, because I knew that I was starting to get out a bit more in different places. So what are you missing about pro wrestling at the moment? And like, what, I know you're missing probably like doing it, but like, what are you missing about it?
I've always been an entertaining wrestler, as you know. Like, I'm always one for the fans, because without them, shows aren't going to run. Without them, wrestling wouldn't be a thing, So without people loving it and wanting to see people, do backflips onto each other and like get power bombed on their head and all this kind of stuff, like without people, we all know that it's fixed, like as in choreographed, but like you still believe it. You still look at that and go, God, that must have bloody well hurt. Like, and I love seeing people like my other half isn't remotely interested in wrestling, right? But she'll come to a show and she genuinely will come backstage and she'll be like, "Are you okay? Like that looked really painful. Like Jesus." But she knows because she travels up there with me. Like, what? So who's winning then? I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna have to work my ass off. Do you know what I mean? But like, she'll know that it's all choreographed, but she's still some
Invested.
bits. You don't know whether that's believable or not. Like, are they legit hate each other? Like, are they actually fighting? Like, and it's I miss watching people's faces who are staring at their phone from a previous match, and then they're constantly up like that, like staring at the match that you're performing for, and then afterwards they'll come back and be like, "Do you know what, mate? I didn't give it. I just brought my kids for the wrestling show, but I'm going to come here every single time now because that's fixed. Like, I'm fixed, and it was because of the match that myself and let's say you performed, like it." And that to me, I miss that a lot, of like just the fan interaction of seeing someone who clearly doesn't care when you peek through the curtains or have a little look on a previous match, and then they're so invested and they come and tell you afterwards. I miss the boys. I miss our nights out, obviously. But as far as like the wrestling is concerned, I really miss crowds interaction and like just hearing when a move or a spot happens or a bunch of reversals happen, and then they just get up and start clapping, or they just lose their shit. Like, I love it. Absolutely love it. And that for me is probably the biggest thing that I miss. So,
like, recently, obviously, well, I say recently, last year, we had the Fighting with My Family film. We also, before that, which I hadn't seen up until around this time, was the Fighting with My Family. You know what's coming now, don't you?
Sorry, mate.
Fighting with My Family documentary. And I was sitting there watching it, and all of a sudden, I'm like, it goes past this part, and I'm like, hold on. And your face pops up, and I'm like I knew that he was like, he'd done a bit of training then. Now, was WAW where you officially started, or?
It was my first ever training school that I went to. When I started, I say my first ever training school. Like, when I was 16, I trained with Mark Sloan at the FWA Academy, and I was there for like 6 months, and he knew me as I don't know if you ever met Mark, but like he was very just straight laced, and it was so hard to make him laugh or like any form of humor out of him. And for 6 months, he knew me as, "Hey, kid in the yellow, wrestle," because I always went there in a yellow vest, like this skinny little bitch that I was. And I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Tie up, wrong way, And it was just ridiculous, and like I didn't know what I was doing. But I went with a mate of mine who used to wrestle as J.K. Wild. It was my old media studies buddy, Jake Gilbert. Bloody hell, I've spoken about him for years. So I went with him. But the first people that actually taught me had a wrestle were obviously Sloan, but my tutors, I suppose, were Ollie Burns and Antler KO. So Antler KO wrestles as Antler Dash, and Ollie Burns wrestles as Priscilla. They were the first people to ever show me what wrestling was. And then after that, I just took a bunch of seminars, like with professional wrestlers. Like, so I had, I trained with Michael Elgin, I trained with Ricochet, I trained with Kevin Steen, I trained with El Generico. Like, there's a lot of people that I just paid to go and like travel up and down the country just to be taught 3-4 hours with. Then I first heard about WAW because my mate Brad, and he introduced me to it, and I was like, yeah, okay, they're doing a weekender, and I just got fixed with it. I loved it. So I spent about 2 years up there, came back down, started with Revolution Pro Wrestling School, stayed there for about a year and a half, I think. Nothing was really happening. So yeah, I just do my own thing now, mate. And now I'm taking seminars, and you know, I'm when I was just about to go to the Joel Redmond School in Salisbury, and I was going to start there because I don't think everyone knows everything. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, I've got that fire again that I haven't felt since like 2015, 2016. Like that, I was buzzing at those years, and those were probably like where I was everywhere. And having matches with Adam Rose and Chris Masters and Haskins and people like that, and that they were like my best years. And I'm like, you know, I want to step up. And what better person to learn from? And he's Jack to the hills like I want to be is Joel Redmond. So yeah. I'm 100% going to go to his school when this is all set up and running again. But yeah, so I spent a lot of my time WAW. But it's mainly been down to traveling up and down the country just for seminars, mate. That's how I've learned my craft, basically, and just watch a lot. watch it.
Because you was initially due to return there, is that right? In a match against Roy?
Yeah. That was supposed to be like March 22nd or March 21st, but obviously COVID-19 hit. Great. But they're having me back if this is all set up and running again in September, where the match will happen. So that'll be good. That'll be real good.
Is it true? Now, I don't know whether you've never talked to me about this. Yeah. Did you do Impact Bootcamp?
Yes, I did. I did the second British Bootcamp 2, is what it was called. Yeah, I was on that. Now, you know my quote of like, it's me, the big C, I've seen on TV, right?
Yeah.
Literally, I had 3 seconds at a push of just going, Gail Kim, Samoa Joe, and Al Snow just pissed themselves, and then it goes on to some Bakewell guy, and it was like, I was it. But I was like, do you know what, mate? I'm going to run with this, because that line was brilliant. But yeah, I was on TV.
Wow. Well, I didn't like when I was looking through that and it came up. I was like, "What the?" You've never really talked to me. And this is what I love about you. It's like like I said, I look at it and I'm like, you've done quite a lot so far compared to some wrestlers. You might not have achieved exactly what you want to achieve yet, but you've done quite a lot. I mean, like you said, you've wrestled in 10 different countries. You know, you have featured with Impact. You've come through the parts of WWA school. You have wrestled these well-named wrestlers, yet like I said, we haven't heard of it, and so it shows that you're not showing any kind of ego about the stuff that you've done, which I think is fantastic. So my next question would be is like, what are you thinking about next? What is the target for you?
I just want to be, when you say Mr. Massive Chuck Cyrus or Chucky C, you just go, oh, massive. I want people to think of me immediately. Like, you speak as someone that I get a lot of comments of like, I'm one of the only guys in wrestling that is like the body guy. Now, I'm assuming they mean like when we all think of wrestling, that when you say to someone who doesn't really know a lot about wrestling, they go, "Oh, you know, Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Undertaker." Like, guys were jacked. Like,
Yeah,
whether they
man.
were slammed with roids or not, like, they were jacked. And like, I feel really privileged that people look at me and go, "You need to wear pants and look like." Because you look like a body guy, you're a body guy. Yeah, I spend a lot of time in the gym, and like I find my diet can be better, like everyone's. But if they're giving me these kind of compliments, and that's the, I suppose, status that I have at the moment, of like, oh yeah, you'll go against Chucky C. People know, like, yeah, he gets stuck in the ropes, and that's funny. But like, have you seen what kind of shit he can do? Like, he literally carried 3 people or 4 people on his shoulders, walked with them, and powerbombed them. Like, it's ridiculous. And like, I want to be. People know I can do it because I've done it. It's on YouTube. Like, check it out. But like, I just want to be a hell of a lot more of a deal. I don't care where I wrestle. I just want people to, when you say heavyweight, their first thought is me. Like, no one else. I want that status. And if I can wrestle for bigger and better, you know, great. But I would rather make a name for, and like kind of like I suppose a legacy of, when you think of a Jax wrestler in the 2000s, who would it be? And someone goes, Mr. Massive, straight away. Like that, I would want that. In all honesty, I'd rather make a legacy and like a status than. I'm not going to say I don't want to work for New Japan. I don't want to work for All Elite. I don't want to work for WWE, because we're all wrestlers. If one of those companies asks us, you're most likely going to take it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, if all 3 of them ask you, then Christ, which pay pack is biggest? I don't know. Like, what country's the hottest? Like, I love the sun. I can't be in any kind of like cold stuff. But yeah, mate, it's. I suppose what I'd say is, like, I'm trying to make a status about. I want to leave something behind when I stop.
yeah,
And when, for the new trainees and stuff that are coming through, if they're like, oh, I want to be a big powerhouse kind of wrestler, and I want to look like thick and big, like, who should I follow? I'd want the trainer to go, you need to look at Chuck, like, right now. He doesn't wrestle anymore, but you need to watch him. That's what I would like. So I think personally, the way I'm going to do that is obviously getting a hell of a lot bigger, a lot more in shape. You can edit that anyway.
no, I'm not.
And then yeah, and just expand on. I know I can do things. I just bottle things, so I don't put them in my arsenal. Whereas I should do it. So, like I said to you, man, like, when I come back, like, there's a lot more things that I'm just gonna go. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Do this to me. I love taking moves, as you're fully aware. But yeah, it's just gonna be a hell of a lot more massive than it's ever been. But I'm still going to keep the character. Do you know what I mean? Like, the character's great, and that people seem to love to hate him. But like, wrestling has evolved into, people want to see like a lot more reversals and sick things happening.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll be bringing back from what I used to do. But now I'm a lot stronger and bigger. There's going to be more things I can do. So yeah,
I mean, it's like, you talk about like the sort of stuff that people are doing now and things like that. I mean, I've seen you take a reverse Rana.
Mm.
Like, and you're like a big guy. Most people would sit there and go, the guy shouldn't be taking that. But when you watch a big guy actually take it, it's like, oh shit. And
Yeah.
it's like, I've seen it SWA, the pops it gets and things like that. You've talked about that you've wrestled in 10 different countries. Is there any countries that you haven't wrestled yet that you want to?
Japan.
Yeah.
100%, man. Like, 100%.
I think you'd suit Japan. I think you'd very like.
Like, it's one of those places. Like, a lot of people say, yeah, I think you'd suit it because Chuck he's a bright full of beans character. You know, he's not afraid to wear a bit of glitter, and you know that they love that over there. They love like the showmanship and like bright lights and you know sparkle is basically what they like, isn't it? It's all sparkles.
Yeah.
Like look at all of their wrestlers, and whether it's guys that just wear black, there'll be some kind of sparkly, shimmery thing going on, and that's that is something I'd love to wrestle out there. I wouldn't say no to Mexico, but it wouldn't kind of be my style. But then again, there was the like on that Wrestle Talk when I started powerbombing everyone. Impact Wrestling actually wrote "Wow" on there, and I was like, if this is genuinely going to happen, like this needs to happen now. So like I shared a couple of tweets towards them. I didn't get anything back, but like there was a lot of retweets and like from.
I saw Ospreay had retweeted.
Yeah, what a hero! You know what I mean? Like he didn't have to do that, but it's because again, like he's one of the people like yourself that believe in me, and I'm really grateful for everyone who believes in me, because I feel like now I believe in myself. I believe in myself in 2015 and 16. Something happened in 2017, 18, and 19. Well, I'd say 17, 18 is when I was less not there. But yeah, now it's just time to play, mate. It's time to show everyone what we've got, and it's I don't want it to just be, oh, you should be everywhere. Like I'm gonna be fucking everywhere, and that's the end of it. Like I'm not having it any other way. And if in my mind, there's no if I don't make it, because I want to make this status. And like a lot of the time, if people know me, like you know me personally, when I say I'm going to do something, it's going to happen. So it's just watch this space. And if I want to wrestle in Japan, I will get there. If I want to wrestle in Impact, I will get there. But it's just when. It's not an if. It's never an if, Luke.
Good man. Tough question probably for you now. Were you drinking your Bud Light?
Of course. It's 80 calories.
What? Is it really 80 calories?
80 calories, mate? I need to show you. I don't know if you can see this.
Man, that's insane. I didn't think that.
Per 100 grams of Bud Light. 100 grams. No, it's per 300 milliliters. It's 80 calories. 100 ml is 27.
Wow.
Ooh.
So the tough question is, what's your favourite match that you've done?
Jesus. I might have to do a Booker T and do like my top 5, brother. Because we're coming for you, and then something else happened. I think. Okay, so like a proving grounds match, I'd say me against Jigsaw from Kapow Wrestling. I really enjoyed that. That dude is amazing, and he was so nice. And we never met each other, but like he was one of the people that is very rare to find, and they just put all their trust in you. Some people might find that like, oh, it's a bit stupid, but like this is our profession. We'll meet someone that we don't even know. You both got a status. Yeah. I do that. Let's make some beautiful story. But it was unreal. I love that match. That would be. I'm not going to put them in order because I don't really know. It's such a hard question. So me against Jigsaw, I'd say the triple threat I had with myself, Kelly Six, and Ash Draven. That was unreal. I was blowing because I was the only heel, so I literally had to do everything. Like
where was that
at? Kapow again. Kapow gave me a lot of opportunities. I then had it was me against Ospreay or RCWA, where I dressed up as like the God of War character.
Yes, I remember seeing that for the first time.
That was cool. That was really cool because the production put so much into it, and like we had a year-long story based on it, and the fans were just so involved. Again, you can find it on YouTube. So that was huge for me. One that, to be honest, the match was trash, but I wrestled against RJ Singh, and it was very early on in my wrestling career, if you like. He said, "Right, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "Christ, like you've been FWA and all these places, RQW, and I'm just some green guy who threw his mate on the field once." Like it's so I kind of said to him, like, "Look, I'd really like to work on the fly because I know you can just lead me through it. I'd like to learn." And I think he was just expecting like me to just be like a Chris Sabin mark, because I was back then, and just be, flips and doing loads of stuff, and because I was scrawny then, so I could do it. It kind of suited me. But when I said, "Look, I'd really like to work on the fly because I know you can carry me because I'm going to get lost," and he stopped what he was doing, just looked up at me and was like, "Are you serious? Like no one's ever asked me that for years. Like I've never worked on the fly with someone for years." And I was like, "Well, I know I'm in good hands. So if there's anyone I'm going to learn off in this early stage, I'd like it to be him." And the match, I'd say it was trash. Like it was good for someone who we only knew what was going to happen at the end. The rest of it was all just made up, and it was actually quite exciting. So yeah, that goes down as like one of my top five. Well, yeah. What else? I'm trying to get tag teams in there, but I'm not really a tag team wrestler. I love the match of me against Haskins. That was like another like proving grounds match for me. But I'd say, which I've actually finally got the footage. I was going to send this to you actually, because it got deleted off YouTube. But it was me against Ash for the SWA Heavyweight Championship, when Ashley Dunn turns and becomes the Prince and all that kind of stuff. That match, I loved it. Loved that match. But again, I haven't faced you yet, Luke. And
I know,
Water, mate. So
I hopefully I've said that, like, I don't know if you saw my status like about a month or so ago, that when I'm back, there's so many matches I want to try and get rammed in by the end of 2020. And you was on them, and it was like we've been to the point where we've been close in a match, as in when we did the 4-on-4 with SWA. And I remember we were sitting there and we're thinking about planning it, and you went, "I've got this really good idea," and I was like, "Okay, let's hear it." And you're like, "You do this bit, and you're all the way out of the match until the end, and you have this big bite off of it, Draven." I was like, "Man, this guy's really putting me over," but at the same time, I'm gutted because I'm not going to be in the ring with these guys. So it's like, and I'm seeing the names that are in this match, and then there's me, and I'm like, and to be fair, like I'd come out on that match and I was over like mad just before that. Like the crowd reactions were insane. I was like, but I'm not going to be in this match like until the back end, which is great because I'm going to be over again. But it's like I'm not going to be in the ring with the guys that I want to be.
That's it. It's a shame, but like again, I look for, like I said to you earlier, like I look for, if I'm a fan, what do I want? I want to get sucked in and believe what's happening. And the best way to do that is either take a savage chair shot, go through a table, like get pile driven on the floor, something that's just disgusting to make people go, "Oh my God," like that needs a paramedic immediately. They get stretchered off, and then it's down to 4-on-3. So right away you've set the scene, and like once everyone's like what happened, everyone on our team was beat, and then you come stumbling back, and everyone's like, "What? Oh shit! Yeah, he's still in the match." And then you start picking them up one by one.
It was my favorite moment, like of 2018. Really loved it, man. It was like that the whole like that the crowd were fired up for it already, and like even like with the near falls and things like that, the reactions we were getting from them. Even though we had the happy place going over at the end, it was still it was still one of my favorite moments so far in wrestling by a country mile.
Because it built you into what you are now. You know what I mean? Like it was like a foundation of. I realise why I get brought into some shows, and it's because like I've done a lot, so I'm here to either put the next guy over, or I'm here to be a champ. It's one of the two. Like that wasn't about me and the other guys on our team. It was like in my head, it was about you. Like, we need to build you up. So what better way to do it than take someone savage at the beginning, you'll get forgotten about, and then you come back when all hope is lost. You know what I mean? And then it's the underdog. Everyone loves the Rocky Balboa stories, man. Like, and that's wrestling. Like, you get beaten down, you lose Mickey, like, and all this kind of stuff, and then you come back, and it's no one believes what would happen, and like you started taking off one by one, and everyone's like, shit, like Luke's gonna do it, and then you get cut off right at the end. But like it's you know, you could make that story either way. You could have done the dog and beat everyone, but as far as like for SWA and APW, because that's those fans know that story. That match has made your rep go from like that to.
Well, that was it. It's like up until that moment, that was the first main event I'd done for SWA, and it was really to me it was an emotional moment because like obviously, I was there from when I was sitting in the crowd to then being like cheered like mad. I mean, like literally people standing up to and literally trying to get their hands over people just to get a high five. I was just like, man, this is nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, like my next sort of question, like with everything going on at the moment and things like that, what is keeping your mind busy? Like, what are you doing at home that's keeping you busy?
My missus. She keeps my mind busy. For all of you dirty people, I'm not doing that. Do you know what, mate? Like I said, I'm a son person, like, and I love being hot. And at the moment, we've been really fortunate enough to have probably the best weather we've ever had. Even though people look at it like you've got to be cooped up indoors and you can't do anything, you can. It's just you can't be near people. Like, and that's okay as long as you've got family, or like if you're living with friends or whatever. Like, then you know you can still do stuff. Yeah, a lot of stuff's closed, but again, it's Chelsea actually said to me the other day, like, it's good that it's happened to me because I was so cooped up in heavyweights, powerlifting. You know, if you don't squat, you're a bitch. If I see you doing abs, you're a bitch. Like, all this kind of stuff, and it's like that was too much of a powerlifter mentality, and I didn't step away from it. Whereas now, it's expanded my knowledge as far as like, you know, I do planks now, I do ab workouts now, I run every day. Like, who would have thought this oaf could actually run and move? Like, you know, I'm running every day. We've got a treadmill in the house as well for when the weather's bad, but the weather's just not been bad, and like, it's just been great. And like, I'm a huge gamer at heart, so I've been playing Call of Duty Warzone, which we still need to play.
Oh, no,
yeah. League of Legends, I'm a big fan of that.
My brother's massive into that. Like, I don't think my brother plays anything else. He's literally he's neglected his newborn child just to make sure he gets his games out. No, I'm not going to say he neglected him just in case anyone gets stuck. But yeah, he loves that game, man.
It's really good, mate. It's real good. They put it onto phones now as well. There's like a card game called Teamfight Tactics, or TFT. I've got Chelsea really into that. Although she didn't do very well last night, so she was kicking off a bit. But like, the other day, mate, she lost and threw a Bluetooth mouse at the cupboard, and I was like, "What? Like, what was that?" came second, and she still beamed the mouse against the wall, like, what? And it was like, it's a really difficult game. You came second out of 8 people, like, fair play to you. But, like, you know, this is why I'm still happy and smiley and motivated. Like, I'd say a lot of it's down to her. It's all down to her. And I feel sorry for people who don't have, anyone else to live with, or they're not around anyone. That's tough. But, you know, the last thing you want to do is start smashing up your house. You want to kind of do a Facebook Live, do an Instagram Live. You know, I can't remember what it's called. Is it like House Party or something? There's a new thing.
Oh yeah, I did see.
Zoom. Yeah, Zoom. You know, you can still talk to your friends. You know what I mean? Like, you can still chat to people.
Yeah.
It's just to release, like, or I suppose all that testosterone that we're keeping. Like, wrestlers keep a lot of it. And we need to release it. And yes, okay, some of the workouts are going to be a right pain in the ass. But, like, if you're not a fan of working out, because some wrestlers don't like it. So if you're not a fan of it, that's okay. But at least expand your knowledge, or just, I look at it like trying new spices in the food, right? So, like, you could constantly order, I don't know, a bloody chicken danzak if you have an Indian curry, right? You could constantly have that all the time. But then maybe the chef recommends, do you know what, mate? If you're not a fan of that, why don't you try a korma? And, like, I know korma's like one of the sweetest things that you can get out of a curry. I don't like spicy food, essentially, but, like,
to be fair, I love a korma. I love a good chicken korma.
Easy keema naan bread, mate, with it, perfect. Do you know what I mean? And, like, I look at that like it's the same with workouts, because your taste buds react and you go, whoa, what was that? Like, this is lush. And it's the same with working out. Like for myself, like, I stuck with powerlifting constantly. I haven't got heavy weights in my house anymore. So I have to pick my heavy body up. And I'm really enjoying running again. I never thought I'd say that, but, like, I'm really enjoying running. I'm enjoying doing my ab workouts. I use resistance bands. So do I feel as physically powerful as what I used to? No, but I'm not far off it. But that, I know that'll come back as soon as the gym starts reopening, because all the heavy weights are there.
Yeah.
But now it's time to just, okay, let's get a bit more flexible. Let's make sure this in here is actually going to survive another 30 years. And, you know, take things, I suppose, don't take things for granted, and just try new things. Try new spice, is what I'd say.
No, I'd have to massively agree, man. I mean, like, I think the one thing this has made me, I've come to peace with a lot of things. You know, I've been promoting now for about 3.5 years. Now, you know yourself, like, where you've been in the situation where booking shows and things like that, where your mind can constantly be going day after day after day after day. And I've had that for, like, the last, like, 3 years. And it wasn't until this happened, and I said literally, like, now do you know what? I'm going to have 2 weeks off. I'm not going to think about wrestling. You know, I haven't had 2 weeks off properly in, like, 3 years. And I'm just like, I'm not going to think about wrestling. I'm going to stay away from social media. I'm going to enjoy the time, play a few games that I haven't played properly, and things like that. And I think, like, this is the thing, like, with this is, like, people should start taking away from it is, like, you know, we should take for granted what we've got now, you know. And you're right, you know, some people haven't got the you know, the support with a loved one or family and things like that, and that must be hard for them, you know, no matter what. I'm lucky in the sense that I've got a great support unit, friends, family. My nan and granddad, you know, they've been massive help. Like, they're proper invested in wrestling itself. So yeah, like, I'm chuffed to hear that the fire is lit under you again. I mean, I'm not saying that you ever underperformed at SWA or anything like that, because you didn't. You've always, like, when you came to SWA, you was all, and when you've been to APW, you know, you've always give it your all. But I'm glad that fire is going to set you up now for probably what will be a massive 2020 to 21. I really appreciate you coming on. and thank you. I know you've got new merch. Do you want to plug your merch?
Damn right, mate. Look at these wristbands, boys. Yeah. So these are £3 for one, or £5 for two. I've also got t-shirts. I'm probably just going to send you a bunch of the designs, mate. I'm so excited now. Send you a bunch of designs, and the t-shirts are £15 each, best of £12. And if you buy two, it's £25. You know what I mean? So yeah, but we go from small to triple XL. For all of you jacked people. No, Luke, I'm not going to say fatties. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Get the fucking.
So big, massive, Mr. Massive, Chuck Cyrus. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it, mate. Check this guy out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the social medias. Check out his YouTube. Thanks again, mate. Really appreciate it.
Good, guys. Stay huge.
Hi guys, I know it's probably a hard time at the moment during COVID-19. Please remember to stay safe during this hard time. And please remember, if you could like and share, it would be much appreciated. Thank you.